The day my wife stood in front of both our families and called me a cheater, I watched everyone turn against me in less than a minute. 3 weeks later, one security camera recording proved I had been telling the truth all along. My name is Daniel, and until that afternoon I believed my marriage was built on trust. I was 34 years old and worked as an operations supervisor for a shipping company in Denver, Colorado. My wife, Melissa, was a real estate agent who seemed outgoing and confident. We had been married for 8 years and shared a comfortable home with our 6-year-old daughter, Sophie. Life had never been perfect, but it felt stable. We spent weekends taking Sophie to the park, hosting backyard cookouts with friends, and planning a family vacation every summer. I believed Melissa and I were simply another busy couple trying to balance work and family. About 4 months before everything fell apart, Melissa began acting differently. She guarded her phone more closely than ever before. She started working late with clients several nights each week and became distant whenever I tried to talk about our marriage. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, she smiled. "You worry too much, Daniel. Business is just crazy right now." I wanted to believe her. Then the arguments started. Small disagreements about groceries or household chores somehow turned into long conversations where she accused me of never trusting her. One evening my younger brother, Chris, quietly asked, "Do you think Melissa seems different lately?" I shrugged. "She is under a lot of pressure." He nodded but did not look convinced. Deep down, I noticed the changes too. I simply refused to believe they meant anything. The week everything exploded, Melissa insisted we invite both of our families over for Sunday dinner. She said she wanted everyone together because she had something important to share. I thought she was finally ready to talk about fixing our marriage. Instead, I walked into my own living room completely unaware that my entire reputation was about to be destroyed before the people whose opinions mattered most to me. Sunday afternoon felt completely normal until everyone had finished eating. My parents were laughing with Sophie's grandparents. My brother was helping clear the table. Melissa stood up, tapped her glass with a spoon, and smiled. "I have something important to tell everyone." I smiled back. I honestly thought she was about to announce that we were going to work on our marriage or maybe even plan another family vacation. Instead she looked directly at me. "I can't keep pretending anymore." The room fell silent. Melissa took a deep breath. "Daniel has been cheating on me." For a moment I could not even process the words. Then every face in the room turned toward me. My mother covered her mouth. Sophie's grandmother shook her head in disbelief. What I finally managed to say. Melissa wiped away tears. "I found messages from another woman. I tried to forgive him, but I can't live with the lies anymore." I stared at her. "What messages?" "I have never cheated on you." She reached into her purse and placed several printed screenshots on the dining table. People immediately leaned forward to look at them. They showed conversations that appeared to come from my phone. The messages were romantic. They talked about meeting in secret. One even said, "I wish I could leave my wife sooner." I had never seen those messages before. Chris picked up one of the pages and frowned. "Daniel." I looked him straight in the eye. "They're fake." Melissa started crying harder. "So now you're calling me a liar too?" Her performance was so convincing that even I almost questioned myself for a second. Sophie's grandfather stood up. "I think you should leave." I looked around the room. No one defended me. Not one person. I grabbed my car keys without another word and walked out of my own house. As I reached my truck, my phone began ringing. It was Melissa. I answered immediately. Why are you doing this? Her voice was suddenly calm. Because now everyone believes me. Before I could respond, she ended the call. That single sentence echoed in my mind the entire drive. Because now everyone believes me. Something about it felt planned. Calculated. Melissa had not reacted like a hurt wife. She had sounded like someone celebrating a victory. Late that night I sat alone replaying every conversation from the past few months. Then I remembered something. Our next-door neighbor, Mr. Harris, had installed new security cameras that overlooked both driveways after a series of car break-ins. A strange feeling settled over me. If Melissa had been hiding something, those cameras might have recorded far more than anyone realized. For the first time since my world collapsed, I felt the smallest spark of hope that the truth had not disappeared forever. The following morning I walked across the street and knocked on Mr. Harris's front door. He opened it with a warm smile that quickly disappeared when he saw my face. "Daniel, I heard what happened." I nodded. "I need to ask you a favor." He invited me inside without another question. When I explained why I was there, he thought quietly for a moment. "My cameras record 24 hours a day," he said. "If there is something on them, you can have a copy." For the next hour we watched days of footage together. At first there was nothing unusual. Cars came and went. Neighbors walked their dogs. Children rode their bicycles down the street. Then we reached a recording from 2 weeks before Melissa accused me. A black SUV pulled into my driveway while I was at work. A man stepped out and walked to my front door. Melissa greeted him with a hug before they disappeared inside the house together. 3 hours later they walked back outside. They kissed before he drove away. I could barely breathe. Mr. Harris looked at me in complete shock. "I thought she said you were the one cheating." "So did everyone else." We kept watching. The same man visited again. And again. Always during the hours I was at work. Every visit ended the same way. Long hugs. Kisses. Comfortable smiles that only two people in a relationship would share. The security cameras had captured everything. Not my affair. Hers. Mr. Harris copied every video onto a flash drive. Before handing it to me, he quietly said, "People owe you an apology." I wished it were that simple. By then my reputation had already been destroyed. Friends had stopped calling. Several relatives had blocked my number. Even Sophie's teacher had looked at me differently when I picked her up from school. That afternoon I met with a family law attorney. He watched every recording without interrupting. When the final video ended, he leaned back in his chair. "These videos completely changed the situation." He explained that the recordings could become important evidence during the divorce because they directly contradicted Melissa's public accusations. As I left his office, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Melissa. "I hope you finally understand why nobody believes you." I looked at the flash drive in my hand before locking my phone. For the first time since that terrible Sunday dinner, I was no longer carrying only my side of the story. I was carrying the truth. And unlike lies, the truth did not need perfect acting. It only needed someone willing to press play. A week later our families met with our attorneys to discuss the divorce. Melissa repeated the same story she had told everyone before. She said I had betrayed our marriage and broken our family. My attorney calmly placed the flash drive on the table. "I think everyone should see this first." The room became completely silent as the security camera recordings played. No one spoke. No one moved. Every visit, every hug, and every kiss was impossible to deny. When the final video ended, Melissa lowered her head and said nothing. My father slowly turned toward me. I'm sorry, son. Those 3 words meant more to me than he could ever know. One by one, other family members apologized for believing the accusations without asking for the truth. Not everyone apologized. Some quietly walked away, embarrassed by how quickly they had judged me. The divorce was finalized several months later. The court approved a fair custody arrangement that allowed Sophie to spend meaningful time with both of us. I never spoke badly about Melissa in front of our daughter because Sophie deserved at least one parent who put her first. Looking back, the hardest part was never being falsely accused. It was realizing how quickly people can believe a lie when it matches the story they expect to hear. The security cameras did not save my marriage. They saved something even more important. My name, my integrity, and the chance for my daughter to one day know that her father never stopped telling the truth, even when nobody believed him.